Sanbonani, and welcome to our second episode of Unsurpassed, Living Beyond Limitation. This is a show that aims to inspire people living with disabilities and educate the society about different types of disabilities. Igama lami nguZinhle waKaNkosi, intombi kaDlamini. Esiqephini sethu sanamhlanje, we'll be talking more about albinism. Albinism is a range of disorder that occurs in the absence of pigment melanin. Isivakashi sami namhlanje Tryiphina Nhlapho, also known as Queen T. She's a lady who is living with albinism. She's a founder of Umelobuhle Albinism Foundation. She also won an award of being the best human rights defender with Hurisa last year. Tryiphina, siyabonga ukusamukela emzini wakho. What a beautiful house and
thank you so much. You're welcome.
So what we want to know about you, ukuthi ukhule kanjani, mawubani usakhula, and all of those things. So tell more about yourself. What was this Tryiphina ubani?
Tryiphina was born in 1996 on the 15th of March. Ngazalelwa eHighfield Hospital. I'm born around is mine, is mine, Nkulele is mine, and I'm the first child, Bazali Mami, and I'm right. I had a rather interesting childhood, but beautiful. I never felt wanting it different until I reached high school, but otherwise, when I was a child, I grew up very well.
Oh, okay, that's nice. What are the challenges who are facing back then, and what are the challenges who are facing currently?
Back then, I because I grew up in the mining area a lot. Remember, I was living at Komati power station in my teenage years, and I was in high school as well. When we got to live at Komati, then we lived with white people. Then a prejudice started there because you'd come across white people and they'd say, as you seen an albino, you know, when you see an albino, you must spit.
Yeah.
So I started realizing, I'm different, and I don't fit well with the other race. And then in high school, I think because in Kulele's mine, in Funde's mine, high school, I get here, first day of school, siyofunda nabantu abathusayo la esikolweni. And I was then kwaqala kwabana lento yokuthi then I'm different, and now people don't accept me, and self-confidence kanjalo, because growing up in the mines, 72 houses or 100 houses or 200 houses, you get to know each other within the community. But then when I got here in Witbank, then you meet all people, all children from all walks of life. Then you realize what I am different, So it was difficult then, but not that much, because I had friends who would welcome me, who loved me for who I am and what I am, who were accepting. And what was nice is I moved with them from Ismaili to high school. But the difference now, certain things, the small things, just recently today, I was in a taxi and somebody calls me and he says, we are eating endlini, and he says, how much we are. And two ladies actually made comments this afternoon, which bayathanda abantu benza ngathi banemizi uthola ukuthi uhlala na ku 4-room etrekile, But God being God, it was very interesting because bekunomunye ugogo engibele nayo ucela delivery lives around here. And fortunately, the taxi dropped me off here, and now everybody was shocked, And you get a lot of questions. Is this really your home? Are these really your kids? Or is this your husband? And the stigmas surrounding living with albinism or being with albinism, then it goes a long way. You experience a lot of prejudice, you experience a lot of people not understanding the condition, not understanding certain things, that I cannot do certain things, not because I don't want to, but because I'm restricted by the condition itself.
So tell me more about they encourage you to live beyond limitations.
Life encouraged me. Because I remember my dad used to say, if siyafana la emhlabeni bekuzobhora. And he said, you are only given one opportunity to live, and you must strive to be the best in everything that you do. And being raised by my dad, you know, most of the times, he always said, be the best that you can be, so that nakusasa, when people want to talk about you when you're no longer here, they would say, Tryiphina used to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And every time, you know, I think about my dad, because he's no longer here on earth. And fortunately, then I had my pastor who would always say, Tryiphina, make a mark that will never be erased. So I live by those principles and values and the morals that I was raised by.
So, Tryiphina, what inspired you to be an activist?
I think I became an activist after Ukapsile Shabane was abducted in, I think, 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I started, you know, feeling Uguti, as persons with albinism, we go through a lot. We've been experiencing the myths surrounding the condition, the myths, you know, surrounding the belief system. Yoguti, we make powerful moti, and there's a lot that we can do with our body parts. It started there. It drove me to a point where I said to myself, I want to make a difference. It stops with Ugabisile being killed and being abducted and being mutilated for multi-purposes, you know, because at the end of the day, the Bible says, let us create man in our own likeness and image. But uNkulunkulu akasho ukuthi let us create black people, brown people, green people. It says, let us create men. He creates people. He created people in every shape and form, you know, so that we can see the beauty of God. So I started using that fundamental statement, no, it stops now, you know, because after Ukabisile died, there was a young boy that I know, Ukolani from Ep2, died of cancer and then was buried a day later, was found on top of his tomb, you know, mutilated, his feet cut out, his tongue, his left hand, you know. So it was that moment where I said, no, I need to stand for my people. I need to stand for the rights of my people, because seemingly the government was not doing anything. The government was not spearheading this whole thing, you know. We would hear all these people who have disappeared and some were never even found. But it drove me to a point to say, it stops now, you know. We start making noise now, because now is the time. It is long overdue that we experience such nonsense things that are happening in our lives, you know. I live in fear, you know, because we live normal lives like everybody else, you know. So that's what drove me to being an activist.
So Tryiphina, since June 13 was the day of International Albinism, yini into ongathanda ukuyisho kumuntu ophila ne-albinism or umzali okhulisa umntwana one-albinism?
It's very simple. Love the child, or love yourself if you know you're albinism. If it's a child, love them, show them love, you know. There's nothing more, because Mina, I've always said, I don't want to be treated special. I want to be treated with dignity and the respect that I deserve, like every other human being that exists here in life. So it would be best that you love the child, you tell the child the truth, you know. And if it's a child, may that child have friends that will accept him. But Mina, I've always said, it's not, the problem is not with the children, the problem is with the parents, because umntwana ukhuluma into ayifunde ekhaya. So if akayifunde ekhaya, they won't know anything. But if you are a person with albinism and you are an adult, it's livable out there. You can live your best life, your normal life, and make a difference, you know. Make people want to talk about the condition, educate people about their condition. Talk about, you know, your fears, talk about the struggles, talk about what we go through on a daily basis, talk about the disability itself, the challenges that we face, you know, with lack of melanin, with the poor eyesight, you know. Talk about, there's a lot that people don't understand, you know, about the condition. So I would say, just be yourself, you know, let people be an open book, let people let people into your life, you know, where they will know you, they will get to know you and understand you, you know. So it's nothing more, just be yourself and be that person who's going to change people's perception about condition albinism. As much as we lived in, our parents and our forefathers lived in the apartheid era, it's high time that we change, you know, the stigma, the myth behind it. Yes, people were killed in the olden days, they are still being killed, but let's live a different life. Let's educate people, because I think all these happenings are happening because of lack of education, lack of information. There's not much information about the condition. So live your best life, no matter the circumstances, but live the best life that you can, that you know.
Okay, thank you, Sister Tryiphina. One other thing engifuna ukubuza yona ukuthi ungathini to educate the society?
We're all human beings. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. We are all human beings, and we are all wired different, and we are all the image of God. We are all what God wanted us to be, you know, to make this earth beautiful. So I wouldn't say people must now give us this special treatment and no, I wouldn't say that. But we're all human beings. Let's treat each other like the human beings that we are. We deserve honor, we deserve respect, we don't deserve special treatment, but we deserve to be treated with normally like everybody else, you know. Can we live in a society where we don't see race, where we don't see disabilities, where we don't see gender, where we see just normal people that were created and who were brought up to this earth to live our best lives and to figure out this life thing, because it's also a journey for everybody else. Well, when it's your journey, and when it's my journey, let's figure the journey together, so that when we move forward, it's easier when we get along, or maybe we meet through the journey. You know, it's easier to tolerate certain things.
Oh, okay. So this is Tryiphina for joining us today. But I love your story, and we are inspired a lot. Next time we will was inspired by your story.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.